He looks as sharp as a tack with these suits. I saw the great suit there that he wore when he was announced by Mr. Crane. He's at Minute Maid, Dusty Baker. Dusty, welcome. Nice to have you back. How you doing, pal? Okay?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. I'm telling you, anytime you come to the ballpark, you get a great feeling in here. I'm looking forward to thousands of people coming to the ballpark and supporting us.
We got a lot to do, you and me. First off, we know that was an unceremonious firing. You should not have been fired there from the Nationals. Did you think that was it? Did you think you'd get back in the sport? Let's go there first. Go ahead.
Well, I did think that was it, and I didn't know if I wanted to be back because, we'd won 97 and 98 games, whatever it was. I gave my all. I really loved Washington. I really loved the district. I liked the people. And at the time, like now, I don't have a glove. I don't have a batting glove. I don't have any shoes. I gave it all away, when I left. And, it didn't appear that I was going to be back, especially when I didn't get any offers until Philadelphia. And every time I lose a job, it seems like it's 2 years before I get another, job offer. But, just my contract wasn't extended. I tell people I've been fired a couple times. My contract wasn't extended a couple times. Then I left one time. So I think this is my last hurrah, and I got to go out a bang, with the
You sure do. Now, did you root for Washington in the postseason, or are you too bitter about what happened to you?
No, bitterness doesn't help, and rooting against somebody doesn't help. I wasn't really for the organization, but at the same time, Mike Rizzo was cool with me. All the players, it's hard to root against the same guys that I was with, so I had mixed emotions, at the time. Like I like Houston. Like I just wanted a good game and a good series, which I did, because, harboring, bad feelings for people or whatever, it does nothing but eat you up, and it does no good. So, you got to forgive and forget, which has probably been the hardest thing for me to do in my lifetime, whether it's baseball, whether it's life. But my auntie used to always tell me, she says, nephew, you got to forgive. And so I've been working on forgiving people, and I'm hoping that, the Lord at the same time forgiving me for some of the things that that I've done in the past that I shouldn't have done. So I got a clean slate now, and things are good.
Well, you've been a good man a long time. All right, how about the Phillies? You mentioned them. Did they offer you something? I know you talked to them. How close did you think you had a chance with Philadelphia?
I don't know, really. I talked to them. I talked to Andy McPhail. I met everybody in the organization and the system. And, you never really know how close you're going to come, if you're knocking on the door or if they really want you or whatever, because, people, don't show their hand. And so, it kind of spurned my juices again, to be back on the field and manage. And I talked to my family about it, and, they were for it because they know that, there's some unfinished business, some things that I, need to finish in life, to satisfy myself and also satisfy my family.
And obviously your kid's a very good defensive player and an excellent player at Cal, so you had to get his approval with this Houston job, which we'll get to in a second. That's the same little Darren Baker at home plate there in the World Series. We'll have a conversation about that, too, as we move it along. Okay, when the Astros went through their changes, did Mr. Crane call you right away? Give me a little rundown on how that scenario transpired here as far as getting involved with this organization. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if it was right away, but, they called, I guess, a couple weeks ago, and, they had interviewed some other candidates, prior to me. But, when I got the call, I talked to my family. I said, hey, man, it's a great organization. I thought Washington was the closest that I had come to, to winning it, because all the other teams that I had managed were on the bottom. And, this is a team I'd always wanted to see what I could do, more with more, where everybody said, Dusty, you can do more with less than anybody. And I'm like, hey, I'm ready to do more with more.
Yeah.
This is a more with more situation. It doesn't come up. These jobs don't become available very often. And, like my family told me, they said, well, this is God working, because there's no way that when the season ended that you thought that this job was going to come available. It doesn't happen. And so, it's truly a miracle that I'm standing here talking to you as a manager of the Astros, and I'm very appreciative. And it's hard for anybody to tell me that there's no God because somebody intervened in this situation.
And it took care of you. Now, you and I have known each other a long time here. I would have loved to have seen you get a multi-year deal. Was it a year-to-year thing? Was that your idea? Was that their idea? How come only 1 year here, Dusty? What can you tell me about that?
Well, I can't tell you a whole bunch, but, the thing about it is, I don't have a whole bunch of years. I don't really want a whole bunch of years. To me, 2 would have been perfect because I think I need 137 more for 2000. I've missed 4 out of the last 6 years without a job. I'd have been there, a long time ago, but you can't cry over spilt milk. And, when you think about it, at my age where I am in my life, how many people, would have turned down a couple million or more, with an opportunity to make more with a great team.
No way.
And win.
Right.
Because,
you take it. You take the deal. Take the deal.
Yeah, you take. Yeah, and I don't want to be around unless I'm in an advisory role 4 or 5 years from now because I want to watch my kid play. I've really enjoyed watching my kid play because I missed so much of his life. The last couple of years have been some of the most enjoyable, times of my life. And I just had my first grandchild, a boy, about 2 weeks ago. So, I want to see him grow up too. And, my goal was to be off the field at 70. But, what you want and what life changes happen, are 2 different things sometimes. So now I'll be off at 72 versus 70. So, I'm only two years removed from my plan because, I'm a great planner. It's just that sometimes it's out of your control and you have to realize that, that it's out of your control.
And you have been so unlucky in the postseason. I don't want to go through all the disasters, but boy,
that's okay.
You never get a break in the postseason. So, anyway,
well, that's okay.
You know how I listen. I mean, nobody's been more unlucky than you. Nobody. But all right, how about spring training? This is going to be tricky now. Mm-hmm. You are perfect to navigate these minefields, but you got a team that's going to be grizzled an awful lot by the press. They're going to be questioned left and right. These are prideful players. A lot of people think they cheated. You know how this works, and let's face it, they got nailed. How are you going to navigate that? You're going to let them handle it? I'm sure you're going to suggest. You're a veteran guy, been around a long time. Let me hear how you're going to handle this. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure yet. I have to get there first and talk to the players and learn the players. And, it takes time. And the thing about it is, basically, I've always lived my life and told my son too. I mean, you have to satisfy God, family, and yourself, in that order. And so it's going to take some time, and it's going to take some time to heal. But time heals all wounds, and hopefully, I can direct these guys on some of the perils of life that I've been through. Because I've been through some ups and downs and tough times also, and here I'm still standing. So, we got a great group of guys here. I'm going to urge them to, no matter what, you have to continue to stay together like Bill Walsh used to tell me all the time. And you got to love each other like, Bill Russell told me. I asked Bill Russell, I said, Bill, what was the key to all your championships and with the Celtics? And he told me that they loved each other. And that's what I see on this team. And I urge these guys, to love each other and just realize that, in time, this also shall pass.
I want to ask you bring up something in the NBA. I'm going to get to that in a second. You're good as usual here. The Astros have a chip on their shoulder. They are going to want to prove to the world everybody's going to doubt them. And I can see Houston next year, regular season coming up here. You think that we cheated, we'll show you. And I think you can capitalize on that and really have a motivated group for 162. I'm sure you have thought of that. Let me get your take on that. Go ahead.
Man, you sound like a manager, man. You sure you don't want to manage down here?
No. I've talked to you too many times. I know how you think. Go ahead. Let me hear.
Yeah, well, that's exactly how I think. And, you go out and play. Just go out and play, go out and win. And then we'll see at the end. And, that's all you can do. I mean, you can't live so far in the future. You see, people dying every day, and I mean, it really affected me when Kobe died the other day, and I had my brother die a few months ago, and you know, you live so far in the future, and it's not promised to anybody, so you got to live each day as it comes. You have to you know, be appreciative of everything that you have in life and every day. So I'm just going to tell these guys to just try to be as happy as you can, you know, focus on a daily basis, and again, you know, love each other and learn from your mistakes. That's the whole thing about life. You got to learn from your mistakes, because we've all made mistakes. And you know, like, I'm a witness here to to help him and tell him that.
I know you love all sports, and I know you California. That Kobe thing bothered me an awful lot. Bothered America. How about you 8 days ago? Let me hear.
No, yeah. I mean, I got the call, that morning. I just couldn't believe it, and boy, that just, it shook the world, and really, shook my world, because, like I tell you, it brought back, a lot of things in your life, and it brought back, how appreciative that we should be of life every day, and a lot of times that we take things for granted that like I said, tomorrow's not promised to anybody. That could have been any one of us at any point in time. So the key is just I keep repeating this, you gotta love each other, and then forgive each other for whatever wrongdoings that have transpired with you or anybody else in your life.
Last thing, Mahomes. You lived in the Bay Area. It was a great last 6 minutes. I remember him bouncing around Shea Stadium there 10, 12, 15, 20 years ago as a little 5-year-old, throwing balls all over the place. That's what athletics are all about.
Yeah.
How about Kansas City beating the Niners in 48 hours ago? Let me hear your take on that. Go ahead.
Well, I tell you, like, I'm a 49er fan, but I'm also a Patrick Mahomes fan at the same time. I know his daddy, and, I'm also an Andy Reid fan. And so, I'm looking at Andy Reid thinking, hey, man, that could be me at the end of the year. And so, like I said, I had mixed emotions there. But, like, what I appreciate the most is a good game. I mean, anytime there's a good game, that means I don't have to go clean the garage. I don't mean I have to go cut the lawn or anything. I can sit there and watch the whole game. And it was one of the most entertaining Super Bowls that I've seen in a long time.
Well, again, if anybody deserves the ball to bounce the right way in October, it is one Dusty Baker. We will keep in touch. Thanks for getting downstairs at the ballpark, Cam. Always a pleasure to talk to you. You know how much I love you. Keep it up.
All right, man. It will. It's going to bounce our way this time.